horse and buggy go down a highway. They're struck by a motor vehicle. Now pretend that you're the driver. You need immediate medical attention. You were in the horse and buggy. You now wake up in a hospital bed with an IV pole attached. You're very confused. You would like to talk to someone about a possible discharge. The reason being is that you are worried about how much this is costing everybody and the finances that are going to weigh down your community. You think the rest of your family and everybody else is going to have to pitch in for this, and you'd rather worry about your injuries or any other of your own care later. This example is kind of a window into how the Amish culture greatly influences healthcare choices made by its own people. Um, I work in the healthcare field, and I witness multiple occasions and examples where we have Amish come into the hospital, and you have to be mindful of their culture and their wishes. We will learn all about the Amish culture, background, beliefs, way of life, religion, and healthcare decisions today, and how much different they are from my own culture. Familiarizing ourselves with some of the background of the Amish culture. The Amish culture started in the 16th to 17th century. They're a result of a division within the group called the Swift Brethren. It divided into the Mennonites and the Old Order Amish, who now reside in the United States of America. Facing ridicule and persecution in Europe, they decided to immigrate to the United States in the 18th century. They were more tolerant here in the United States at that time. Most of them immigrated to Pennsylvania. According to Graham and Cates, 2006, the majority of the population is in Pennsylvania. There is 175 settlements in total in North America, and the population of the Amish community is just shy of 110,000. That is estimated. Smaller settlements obviously dot the small rural areas of Wisconsin, since that's where we see most of our buggies. Using what we know about their background, it kind of shows how much different it is from my culture and what I'm used to being from America or the United States. What they use to cement their way of life is religion. It is the central theme, it's the central idea. They use their belief in a way of God as to base how they live, talk, marry, what they perform as far as duties. The old or a journal from a perspective old order Amish by Graham and L. Gates. The Amish believe in the supreme being of God and that He is all knowing and He has infinite wisdom. The whole idea of the Amish community is based off of that central belief in just God. They make decisions off of what God's will is. The Amish community believes, without a question, their faith. They do allow different adolescents a chance to see what life is about. They call it Rumspringa, just a little background on that before they commit to the actual or baptize into the church. They let them go out and experience the modern world. A little bit different than how we are. They do let them go out and party and go through buying vehicles, kind of comparable to our college life, if you will. But at the time and the end of their teens, they have to choose whether or not to be within the Amish community or to continue. Moving on to that, once someone has decided to be baptized, they are in it for life until their death. If they decide to be excommunicated, or they don't decide to be excommunicated, if they do become excommunicated, then they're shunned for life. Day-to-day life with the Amish is fairly simple. They just tend to keep the community strong in the family. They put it first. So men are primarily restricted to building, a lot of the labor jobs, field work, building work. Women themselves, they tend to do more of the housework. It's a lot different than what we're experiencing here in the modern America. We have men and women doing many different job roles, and the titles are slowly fading away. A little bit more open. In the Amish community, everybody has a role to fulfill to provide for the actual community itself. Most Amish complete an 8th grade level education. Anything higher than that is to be considered ungodly, because God is all-knowing and they need to trust in His plan. They finance themselves by the farm work, woodworking, and building. Also, some of the women sell household goods and baked goods, which is much different than what we're used to too as well. They stick to their faith and worry little about what the rest of the world has in store for them. They understand that it's God's way, and they're willing to learn that. They do speak English and Dutch. The clothing style is very simple, unlike us who have multiple shopping centers and multiple clothing lines. They stick to the handmade dresses and bonnets, and also jackets and pants. Moving on to how they treat their sick versus how Western culture does. They go with the homeopathic, holistic healing at first. Then they move on to modern medicine. They like to pay in cash. They do not like to buy health insurance. They look at it as a way of going against their faith because God has a way and plan for all of us. If they have too high of a medical bill, they will get together with the community and see what they can do to pay it. If they can't, the individual will try to seek treatment elsewhere. There's been cases where they're trying to go to Mexico to seek cheaper treatment because the healthcare costs are not as high there. It's hard to hear and witness from a modern healthcare worker's point of view. I know for me it's tough sometimes, but I have to practice cultural competence and sensitivity to what the patient wants and needs. They put community first and family first when it comes to paying for treatment. So keeping that in mind is very important. So to review what's been talked about, the Amish culture greatly influences healthcare choices made by its people. The Amish culture, background, way of life, beliefs, and healthcare decisions need to always be respected. It is important to always practice cultural competence and keep an open mind when caring for Amish. Always slow down and think twice before you pass a horse and buggy. Respect different cultures.